So there was some files.
I saw it.
Yes.
He
has to go back.
Next year,
But-
about 100%.
Yeah, I think it is.
So I have, it was pretty,
It's good, but.
but whoever company's taking.
So you better not go through.
That's
the only way you can
Yeah.
That's right.
I don't know how you do it, I have enough trouble.
Oh, I know. I don't. And did you know
So
this?
he's figuring out.
Yeah.
Can they do that?
Yeah, he said it's like-
I'm
Like, there's like, I was trying. I just have been going, I'm gonna just go with it.
I kind of countered that.
We can get started, and then.
Yeah.
None of that.
I really do. Yeah, so now I'm ready for this.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, it is 7:00. We will call the November 10th, 2025 regular Board of Education meeting to order. This meeting is being held in compliance with Nebraska Open Meetings Act, a copy of which is on the wall right there. And with that, let's take a roll.
Jason Art.
Here.
Cassie Fleischer.
Here.
Chase Credible.
Here.
Brian Locker.
Here.
Steve Slyguys.
Here.
Shannon Wilmot.
All right, everybody's here, we have a quorum. Before we do the pledge, obviously, this is November 10th, the eve before Veterans Day, so just a reminder for those that have served our country or are currently serving our country around the world tonight and providing those freedoms. Thank you to all those individuals, and with that, we will do the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, agenda item 1.4, it's for the regular meeting agenda. I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Steve and Brian. Any further discussion? Let's vote.
Steve Slyguys.
Yes.
Shannon Wilmot.
Yes.
Jason Art.
Yes.
Cassie Fleischer.
Yes.
Chase Credible.
Yes.
Brian Locker.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Agenda item 2 is welcome guests and public forum. There is a sign-up sheet right there if you haven't already done so. Is there anybody that would like to address the board this evening? Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Hi, I'm Lisa Flessner, for those of you that don't know me. I have 3 seniors this year in the district, and I just had some concerns about the district financials. I was looking at the minutes in the paper from last month's meeting, and I noticed that the activity fund was negative. I also noticed that the scoreboards, the advertising that had been promised to fund those boards had not been secured. And this is just anecdotal. I've been observing there is a ton of fundraising, more than I've noticed in the last 6 years that my kids have been in high school. So I'm just wondering if all 3 of those things are connected. And I noticed for this, when I was looking at the financials for this meeting, that the activity fund has money now. And so I just was curious, how did that happen? Was that a transfer from the general fund? How did it not have it? Now it has it. Where is it coming from? And I would also like an update on where we are with the scoreboard advertising. What's happening? Is there money that's going to be replaced, from the advertising? And lastly, I just had a suggestion. I was looking at the financials, and I noticed that there's a column for a budgeted number and a percent received. And I think it would be really helpful and make it more transparent for the taxpayers and the public if we actually had something in there that said this is the amount that is budgeted for each of these line items and what percent of that budget has been used so far with the actual numbers, so that we really could see where we are within the budget.
Thank you. So open session, we can't address all those issues. However, I promise you, I will get back to you to discuss all those items. Luckily, some of those items are going to be discussed during the board this evening, but the other issues, we can't have a conversation just due to the format of it. But I promise a phone call back to you to follow up on those issues and talk to you about some of the context surrounding that.
Thank you.
Any other individuals like to address the board this evening? With that, we will move to agenda item 3, the consent agenda. You will see there the minutes of the previous board meeting, as well as the financials. I'll get these pulled up, highlight a couple of things here. So you will see on the first page of the financials, interfund transfer for the hot lunch. That amount is different due to the fact that there's 2 transfers on there, correct, Jen? Yep, due to the timing of the previous one. So usually that amount is about half that, but due to the timing of how things fell this cycle, there's 2 interfund transfers on there, which is pretty normal for our hot lunch account. Second page on there is check register. I'll go down here a little bit. You'll see a little work on there on the doors, and locker room and gym doors. Those are from some old work that was done. We finally just got some invoices for those and got those paid. So for whatever reason, they were just invoiced late to us on that. You see a couple things regarding the bus barn, obviously equipment. So some of it we've talked about getting the new employee set up with what he needs there, and some other equipment we've talked about for subscriptions. The van wraps are on there. We discussed that at the previous meeting. I think most people who walked in would have actually saw those on the vans. I thought those looked pretty good. I think we got an email on that. You will see quite a few ESU related charges on there. One of them's related to teacher we have up here. We talked about that quite a while ago, about how that structure is working. So that's why you see that on there, as well as some student services for some students at the school here. And then
What is that co-op purchase? Those are items that the teachers budgeted for at the beginning of the year, and they're purchased through the coordinating council.
Oh, okay, and that's through ESU three also. I was like, oh.
I
Okay.
saw a few things that were for oil change.
Those were
The kit,
parts.
is that
Yeah.
so we can now do them, right? We're setting
Oh,
up.
we have the
it.
list yet, is that installed yet?
No.
But it looks like he's getting stuff to be
There
able
was-
to then.
Yes, and one of them was an oil change on
The pickup
A
of the
pickup.
blade on the
Yeah.
front, so.
that was taken over across the street before
Before Robbie was set up and
Yes.
able to do it.
so-
Yeah, because he's got okay, good.
Yep.
It looked like he was getting ready with something. Okay, thank you.
did anybody else have any questions on the check register in the financials at all?
On that, just one of those things, I guess a follow-up question. There was one, like the doors weren't shutting properly on the north side.
Yeah, there
Are
are,
those
there
all
and there are a couple
Fixed
here.
now? Because the
Yes.
other day there was still like papers on them, like don't use this door or
Well,
pull it
they're not
shut behind
supposed to
you.
use them, well, I'll check the one that had the do not, that
Yeah.
pull it shut behind you, but they're on there because they're not supposed to use them as exits. The
Yeah.
students are not supposed to go out those doors.
Okay.
So, they're not, because they're not functioning properly.
Okay.
But yeah, those were June and early September that those were repaired.
Anything else in the
I just
check?
have a clarifying question. On hand payables, what is, for Tamar Reed, what is MACSK?
That's just their incorporated name for the, not incorporated, but their business name for painting the football field.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It's the extra help. Warrants, and it is, Tamar comes with Cooper and when when they're not on. So anyway, it was cheaper than hiring like we tried to hire a vendor a couple of years ago and it would have been like $9,000. So it's good for helping with that.
Does that come out of the athletic budget then, or the buildings and grounds budget, or where does that, I don't remember us talking about that in the past.
We split it in between the two of them, and it's on in the athletics part of the general fund budget, it's part of that lump sum that is included in those expenditures, like the things that happen throughout the year.
Okay.
And the other half has been coming out of the activities athletics fund.
That's for the whole season.
That's the second, there's two, I believe, is that correct? Or is that just one for the whole season?
One bill for this.
Yeah.
There's one bill for the whole season of $2,500, or there's one bill for the whole season of $5,000?
Of 5,000.
Of 5,000. Okay.
It's split.
Okay. Was that something, I guess I just don't remember us ever talking about that.
Because it's under the $10,000 threshold and we needed to get it painted, so.
Gotcha.
But it was part of what was budgeted for when we adopted the budget.
Okay. Okay.
On the general fund, percent received, document, as we kind of discussed last month, we can't put those numbers in until, the audit's completed. So, once the audit is fully completed, we will have those numbers, to correspond to last year at this time. So that's why you're seeing the 0% in there.
It's part of the e-finance system rollover, actually. We can't completely close the prior fiscal year until they've completed the audit and we make sure that that's done. So now we'll be able to close out the 24-25 fiscal year and then upload the 25-26 budget year. So that's why until December, those columns are zeros. Next month, they will catch up.
On the activity balances, is there a reason why certain things are highlighted? Like, should we be paying special attention to
They were
those?
negatives. They were negatives.
Okay, that's the only thing? Okay, because some of them were positives and some of them are negatives, so I
No,
wasn't
all
sure.
of the ones that are highlighted that I see are negatives.
Because so concessions should be negative $620?
Don't look at the beginning balance, look at the end balance.
Oh, sorry.
It's the end balance that's negative on the ones that are highlighted.
Yeah, concessions. the end
Concessions
balance
is-
funds.
Okay,
must have
I
just
just,
accidentally
okay,
highlighted
I just was like, I
I didn't see that over there.
that's-
I'm sorry. I'm like, some of them have,
That might have been just a error.
Okay.
on my part.
okay,
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
I was only looking at the balance at the end. So.
Okay,
Nothing else in agenda item 3.3 on reassignments, resignations, or hires. With that, and barring no comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I will second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Let's vote.
Shannon Wilmot. Jason Art.
Yes.
Kathy Flessner.
Yes.
Chase Cradaville.
Yes.
Brian Locker.
Yes.
Steve Flex.
Yes.
All right, agenda item 4, curriculum instruction and supports. We have the social studies and history team. I will turn it over to, I don't know who, Mr. Hallstrom or
I can
us,
start
right? Okay.
if I need to.
The boss ladies.
Okay.
Cass, do you want me to grab you a computer soon?
I'm okay, I'm getting there.
Okay.
I can get into it, then I can't see anything.
All right, well, I'm Helen Revere. I teach the 7th and 8th grade history here at Arlington. And 7th grade is world history, focusing on Renaissance, right? End of medieval times, post-Roman collapse, essentially, to present day, which is coincidentally the same that Mr. Buckingham teaches. Throughout that class, we cover a number of different themes and topics. So far this year, we've covered, the Renaissance. We've covered the scientific revolution. We've covered, where are we at now? The age of exploration, which is all of the exciting things, right? It feels like, okay, we're not in the 1400s anymore. Kids get more excited about really the world wars, which won't come until next semester, but we cover it all in 7th grade. And then 8th grade, we cover American history.
colonial all the way up to the Gilded Age, which is like post-Reconstruction, big businesses, things like that. So far, we've covered obviously the English colonies, American Revolution, creating the Constitution, right, the pillars of the Articles of Confederation. And we are currently taking about a 3-week break and focusing on our government structure and what that means and what it means to be a citizen and what our Constitution means and our rights and all of those good things, which Mr. Hallstrom, I think, appreciates. And then we will eventually cover what the kids tend to think is the less fun and exciting stuff, right? All the presidencies, basically 1800 up until 1860 when the Civil War starts. All that they don't get too excited about. But we'll spend a good chunk of time on the Civil War. We will look at Reconstruction and then try and set the stage for when Buckingham will take over with the juniors around the Gilded Age progressive era. We do a lot of DBQs, document-based questions, which, thank you, the school district has provided for us and spent some good money for us to utilize those resources. So it has students look at primary and some secondary sources and has them, there's an overarching question, like my 8th graders just did, should we abolish the Electoral College? And so it's making them look at some aspect of history, or in this case, government, and they have to analyze different primary or secondary sources, using their perspective, their insight, and then ultimately, we didn't do an essay this time, we will, when we get to the one on the Civil War and what caused it, but they formulate an essay arguing their perspective of answering that question. So it's really open-ended. It gives students a good opportunity to, really argue for themselves history, and take ownership of it rather than just dates and facts and numbers and all the things. And that ties into our SLO goals, at least Buckingham and I's, which is to focus on primary versus secondary sources and being able to analyze those and the difference between them. I think that's pretty much it for me.
That was awesome.
That's phenomenal.
So my next freshman? You have a freshman?
Sure.
I have all the freshmen in world geography. And I want to start off with first saying that I appreciate and am thankful and feel blessed that I'm able to teach in Arlington High School. At this point in my career, to be here doing this is truly a blessing. I've worked with and in over 20 districts in my career, and I appreciate the administration of this school. Their personal and collegial relationship, that includes you, who worked on me. I've worked with some dysfunctional administrations in my past, so I appreciate that. I appreciate the camaraderie. The staff gets along very well. I've had a job once where I made the most money and was the most miserable. So I've lived the money doesn't make you happy job, and to be able to be here doing this, I'm very appreciative of that. Given that, world geography. 196 countries. How do you learn a little bit about all of them in a year? Very impossible. So we start off with physical geography. Any of you that have had kids with me, we do a lot of map quizzes. Kids need to know continents, oceans, peninsulas, main bodies of water kind of stuff, which they don't get. They don't have a lot of world geography prior to their freshman year. So hammer that a lot. We've had map quizzes almost every week since the second, third week of school. And that repetition is important. Unfortunately, oftentimes we do a lot of one and done, where you take the test, you forget it the next day, you move on to the next subject. Not a fan of that. So unfortunately, it is a part of some of what we do. I try to take more of a let's drink out of the garden hose versus the fire hose, where less knowing something well, maybe it's less, but you know it well versus the spray and pray. We're going to cover a whole bunch of stuff, and you may not remember squat. And I approach that with my world geography, I approach that with my government class as well. We're in human geography now, which is a huge chunk of learning, couple months of economic geography, population geography, the elements of culture. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to unpack. Right now, today, we're talking about capitalism, socialism. You know, the socialism of young kids thinking that's cool is fairly strong in our nation. With my kids, I tell them I rarely give them my opinion. It's not my job to indoctrinate kids. My job is to present, here's the information, you figure out an answer. Where do you fall on that? With capitalism, socialism, I tell them, here's the deal. My job is to teach American government, foundationals of capitalism, constitutional democracy. My job is to teach capitalism, the foundations of this country. Is that a bias? It's not a bias in my opinion because it's factual about the foundation of this country. So that's what we're doing right now with my freshmen. Tomorrow Wednesday we're going to do a matching, capitalism, socialism, what does it look like? We watched some videos on it today. Economic system stuff, for some kids, it's like, holy crap, who cares? Well, economic system affected them as soon as they woke up this morning. To try to make what's kind of a theoretical, maybe, I don't even know what it is, to the clothes you're wearing is affected by the economic system. It's also affected by the politics, your government. We'll go into after human geography, United States and Canada, we'll go Latin America, we might go Africa, we might do Southeast Asia. It kind of sometimes is driven by what the kids want to go to. And then my culminating activity, which kids love, I call it Build Your Country. Street slang, street lingo, where literally they get to create their own country. They get to pick where it is on the planet. It could be in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It could be the United States and Canada. They have to pick their economic system, political system, customs and traditions, creative expression, language, religion, all the elements of culture, and then the 5 themes of geography. So it's a huge application project at the end. They draw it on a big poster. They come up with what their gross domestic product is going to be, what's your per capita income, are you going to have a military or not, what kind of education system you're going to have, all that kind of stuff. So that's a culminating activity that's coming in. It's bomb class. Love it. So does this guy. If my wife lets me retire, he wants world geography. Am I right? I do? Okay. I want that. You want me to cover government too?
I mean, I can know that. I got the next two.
Government. Can I start off with this? Is that the powers that be believe that 2 years of world geography or world history, 7th grade and 10th grade, is critical to an education of a Nebraskan student. And they have to take 1 semester of government their senior year. That, in my humble professional educator opinion, is bad policy. Because world history, last time I checked, the Renaissance is the Renaissance. It ain't changed. But government affects them every day of their life. And thank God that you spend time on it. I spend more time in geography because political system is an element of culture. So I spend time on American government. Freshmen, so they get a little bit in 7th grade, 8th grade. I spend more time on it freshman year world geography, and then their senior year of high school, they get 1 semester. And to get into the depths and the bowels of American government in 1 semester, to have the kids be prepared for, participating in, and understanding is, to me, that's my opinion. Okay, so given that, some of you have seen, we've had kids seniors that come, so LB 79724 is that, government participation, which is an enlightenment concept, participation in government. That they come and they participate by going to and sitting in a board of ed meeting. They can go to a village board meeting. I've had one kid go to a village board meeting in Kennard. But the point is just to expose them, to have the opportunity. Do they think it rocks? No, but it forces them to do it. It's a 100-point assignment. So there's some enticement there from a grade standpoint. So that's why you may see some seniors that are here. They take a citizenship test. Mr. Google's had them do the 100-question legit U.S. Immigration Service test. I do that, plus I've added, so there's 120 questions. I've made it a little bit more stringent than before. And we take those 120 questions, I've broken up into 4 quizzes. So every Tuesday, we take a fourth of that quiz. We are on round 3. Again, repetition, not just one and done and be done. So by the time they take the final, they will have taken the final first time just off the dome, just to see how they graded it, how they did. They will have taken the final 5 times before they take the final. And they will all pass the final because it's not a one and done. And it's cool to see them become more happy with themselves because they, pardon my French, don't suck as bad later as they did at the beginning. So I think that's an important part of the repetition that we do. I do a political ideology with them. I do some online assessments to see where they lean and why. So to try to have them start crafting, typically they're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, because of family. But have them answer questions based on how they feel it, try to develop their understanding of their political ideology. And I have them do we call them hot topics, the current events. Once a week, each of them has a day where they have to find a political hot topic where they have to summarize. They're looking for bias. They use allsides.com, which takes print media and tells you, here's an article that's left-leaning, here's an article that's right-leaning, here's one that's in the middle. So they're analyzing the bias, the propaganda, if you will. We spend time with propaganda because that's important because they're inundated with that. So every week, they have a job to share that. We have a Google Doc where as the students are sharing, we're all taking notes on the topic. So right now we've got a Google Doc that's like 9 pages long because they're all adding to. And the caveat with that is how government works. Is it a state, local, federal issue? Again, trying to be very intentional about the day-to-day, how does your government work? How does it affect you? So it's a daily connection to, the Arlington dog park or the Blair dog park or whatever. But they understand that this stuff is affecting them each day. You're it. On hot topics. Oh, no. Oh, you want me to do current events? Yeah, I teach current events. We've done current events. There's no structure to it. I'm black, white, concrete, sequential dude, and I'll go on YouTube, go down the YouTube rabbit hole, and tomorrow we might watch 3 different videos over 3 different freaking topics, from AI to ICE getting bricks thrown at them. Right now, my kids are presenting on conspiracy theories. They all picked a conspiracy theory, and they have to defend whether they believe it's true or not. That has been bombed.
What age is that?
Junior,
class?
senior.
Junior,
So
senior.
it's an elective.
Yep.
I've got 9 kids in it, and very random stuff. And it's largely driven by me, but they picked a topic and did research on it. If you've ever been on YouTube, go down the YouTube rabbit hole and just find little bits of video, and then we talk about it. Again, my form an opinion. Their job is to create an opinion. It's not my job to tell them what I think. And that's a fun class, and it's very random. That's it. Do I have any other? Nope. Okay. All right. Sorry. More than 30 seconds, Dr. Morgan. My bad.
Okay, so I'm Pat Buckingham. I teach the sophomore world history, like Helen said. Because of the state standards, it's pretty much the same class that Helen teaches. A little bit more in depth. It's more in depth than what the 7th graders little experience because I taught the 7th grade version and the 10th grade version at the same time, which wasn't great because I pretty much taught the same topic all day, but now I don't, so it's pretty good. Appreciate it. The middle schoolers, but yeah, I mean, like I said, we pretty much covered the same stuff. Started around the medieval times, and work our way all the way up as current as we can. Each year I try to get farther and farther, and each year I get about the same spot, but I continue to try to push to get as close to modern times, world history wise, as possible. Use a lot of the same stuff Helen does in terms of DBQs. We work with each other and say, hey, you're not using this one, right? More times than not, though, I do include the essay version of it, so I have them read through all those documents and form an opinion and write an essay on it. Not always a 5-paragraph essay. Sometimes it can be two paragraphs, 1 paragraph. Just, you know, if it's asking what was the biggest cause of the Dust Bowl, which is one we did in American history last week, you know, give me a paragraph on that. Which one of the topics it discussed do you believe is the biggest cause of the Dust Bowl? Yeah, that's American history, not world history. World history. You know, the more we get to the end of the first semester and the beginning of the second semester, kids tend to enjoy the topics a little bit more because that's when like more fighting takes place, if you will. Wars, because that's what the kids like. I mean, they like the wars, they like the battles, they like all that. I try to help Jeff out a little bit with the Industrial Revolution and government. I spend a lot of time talking about like industrial capitalism and like the concepts you were talking about. How, well, do you like the shirt on your back? Do you like the phone that's not in your pocket anymore in the locker? The computers, thank industrial capitalism. But then obviously the negatives that came with it. And the economic system.
He also tells the students that I'm a primary source for World War
Nice.
No comment. So I've been told. No comment. Maybe. So that's where we're at in world history. American history, like Helen said, I try to tie the two together at the beginning. So she does a good job of Reconstruction. I kind of go over Reconstruction real quick with the juniors since it's been a handful of years. Go over Reconstruction with them and then work our way through Gilded Age, Progressivism, Roaring '20s, Great Depression is what we were just finishing. We'll finish this week with the test, but now they would get real excited because we talked about the United States World War II. So, like I said, they really enjoy those topics. And then my goal is always try to get as current as the book in American history. So I taught it. Not every year I've been here. American every year I've been here. Just the last 2 years, and then at my previous stop, I taught 3 years there. So, trying to get to 2016 election, trying to get to 2020 election. Like we're going through the curriculum adoption right now, and that's one thing. Like the first thing I look at in the book is go all the way to the end and see what's it got for 2016 and 2020. If it's brand new, they might have something on 2024, but not what we do. So that's where we're working in American history. And then I also teach the U.S. military history as well. Started that one last year. We had a pretty good core group of kids last year for like guinea pig year, if you will. I don't know what you want to call it, but test subjects on how we go. And I appreciate everybody who's let me start that because that was probably the most fun I had teaching like a certain topic. Okay, I guess I'm like the kids, right? The fun stuff is the fighting stuff. But that's been a real pleasure to teach that one. And then for that class, the Veterans Day Assembly tomorrow, they want to do like a video on the history of all the branches. So unfortunately, I only have 2 students in it right now. So they each took 3 branches and did the brief history for the video tomorrow. So I'm excited what they did because they did a pretty good job on it. Yeah, I appreciate the administration a lot for letting me teach that because it was a lot of fun. And something different. Like it was a challenge because I had never actually like written a curriculum or came up with anything like that. And it was a good challenge for me last year. And we're off going. Like I said, I went 2. We'll have 3. A kid took it first semester last year. We'll take it second semester because it's 2 separate classes. So that one we start colonial America, 1607, and then I get through the Civil War. So a lot of history in a real short time. First, for U.S. military history 1 and U.S. military history 2, we start post-Civil War and then try to get as current as I can. Last year we made it to Vietnam, which isn't very current, but when you talk about 2 world wars, it takes up a lot of time. So, but yeah, that one's been really fun.
One last thing I would add that I forgot to mention, and Kyle briefly mentioned it, so we are starting our curriculum adoption process. So we are in the research stage, so we're looking at lots of different curriculums. Next year, we'll get to pilot some of those, and then eventually we'll decide and land on a curriculum, and yeah, you guys will get to approve that. But that's kind of where we are as a whole department in terms of that.
I love the air too, because social studies standards are up.
Yeah.
For debate, I guess, so we'll see
Yeah.
if anything changes with 7th grade.
I feel like there's been quite a bit of pushback on the 7th grade world history. So my first 2 years when I was here, it used to be ancient world history, starting with the beginning of humanity, working up to like the fall of the Roman Empire. And then the state said, no, we need to do modern world history. And so Renaissance to present day, mimicking what juniors do. So I don't know, we'll see if maybe they transition back since they've had some negative feedback to that, but I don't know, we'll see what happens. I don't have anything else to add.
Outside of wars and conflicts, what else are the students liking to study, either in government or the history of the things?
So we actually, the 7th graders, we talked about the Reformation as well. I forgot to mention that. And there were a lot of students who were like just so interested and fascinated about like how that began and the depth that it took for people to like stand up against the church and that it cost some of them their lives. And so outside of war, like usually you think of revolutions and people risking their life for that, but then it's like, oh, well, people were executed for having scientific beliefs that went against the church or religious beliefs that went against the church. And so it was really fun to watch 7th graders' eyes like light up like, wait a second. Like there are risks you can take outside of just fighting in a war. Like those are the connections you get to make. And today we, I have the privilege of talking about the creation of the European slave trade and racism, which is such a fun topic for 7th grade. And there's so many interesting questions and they're just curious about how something so abhorrent and evil could like begin and just trying to grasp the concept of those things, which is tough for a 7th grader in our curriculum, but it's fun for them it's fun for me to see them asking those questions and to develop their own understanding of why it's bad, why it was a terrible time in our past, why we moved past it, and making connections to how it is today.
For me, we did the Roaring 20s and how it ends in the Great Depression. So I began the Roaring 20s unit with the stock market game, knowing farewell what's going to happen. They think it's year 10 because there's 10 numbers at the top. It's year 9. So it tricks them that way. And then I'm a really good salesman apparently. So I got like fake money. I got fake, bond or shares that they combined. So I'm the banker and the stockbroker all in one. And I'm like, I don't want to see any cash on your desk. I don't want you guys to buy stuff. Buy. If it's red, buy now. It's only going to go up. And then 1929 comes around and they all lose their money. It's like, gotcha. But they actually enjoyed that. They give me 2 dirty looks to begin with. Because like, seriously, you're telling us to buy, it's only going to go up. I'm like, well, to be honest, that's what the stockbrokers were telling in the 1920s. So, you can't always trust, even today, like stockbrokers don't necessarily know what's going to happen. It's a gamble, it's the Wild West. So, we kind of connected. Obviously, they can't buy it now, but when they can, and if they want to, make sure. Because a lot of people in the 1920s were spending money that they didn't have, or it was borrowed money, and that's what the snowball effect for the Depression. So it's like only spend within your means. So we had a nice, good talk with them on that. Installment plans, and credit, and what all that means, and how it can get you in trouble.
Senior government, there's a blank, they're generally clueless. They've had very little instruction on it. So the growth from what they know first day to the end of the semester is amazing. And I think it's appreciated. Current events, Russiagate. I mean, there's so much. The kids, if they consume any media, it's TikTok, it's social media. There's not a lot of conversations around the kitchen table, and that's sitting as a family watching the news. They hear it from the friends, social media. So their understanding of just like some of the hugest, most important issues of the last year, 2, 3 years, many of them have no clue about it, which is, I understand it, but it's scary you know, so just understanding the current, you deal with politics. It's amazing what they don't know. You know, I don't know about you, I grew up with a family that watched the nightly news every night. Had conversations about it. That doesn't happen with a lot of the kids. That's kind of a scary proposition. So families, you know, there's a little bit on the education system. We have to expose kids to stuff, but the conversations at the home are maybe what I grew up with, you know, and I don't know about you. But, so there's a lot to learn, which is the fun challenge.
It's good to meet someone that knows who Walter Cronkite is.
I know.
I mean, yeah.
Did he have a bias? Was he biased?
Yeah.
Who's that saying?
Yeah, exactly. We'll explain later. Mike, we talked this a little bit at conferences, and you mentioned it there. Are you guys able to push back and have any of that input on the curriculum? Because it seems a shame that they're not starting at ancient if they know they're gonna go to Renaissance later. Because if you don't have the start of civilization to the Greeks, to the Romans, to the Syrians, all that conflict, we wouldn't even get there to get here. You
And they
think there's
cover-
a pretty good chance they'll shift that?
I were probably wishful thinking,
I know.
probably my thing was probably wishful thinking, but
They do cover it in sixth grade, but sixth grade curriculum, again, looks really different than middle school, which looks really different than high school. I really enjoyed teaching it when it was ancient. And we got to have fun conversations about these civilizations that kids are like, look, why do I need to learn about this? This happened thousands of years ago, but it's the basis of humanity, and it's fun to get them excited about learning those things. And I know Mrs. Reed and Mrs. Stork does a really good job, because I ask them questions and like, well, okay, last year you should have talked about this. They're like, oh yeah, we covered it. Are you supposed to be part of this conversation too?
No.
Like, are we just talking over this whole
Just a happy
time?
accident. I just keep making eyes at her.
No, I know they do a good job trying to cover it in elementary school, but yeah, I think we're probably on the visual thinking side of making those changes. I don't know.
But she probably can't show, the Battle of Thermopylae and the 300.
The 300.
Sixth graders, so that's
Like
not-
pieces of it.
Yeah.
Just the pieces without the
Talking with Mr. Buckingham today, last year I had almost emailed the dude that's in charge of heading up the state standard writing. And then my ADD kicked in and I didn't get it done. We talked today. Control what you can control. I can control reaching out to the person running standards, and I've worked with state standard stuff, and they'll entertain feedback from teachers, and that's part of their process. But nothing will change if nothing else. We can at least make an attempt to try to influence and to give our opinion on that.
Or is it different silos that they're looking at middle school and they're looking separately in high school, not realizing they're duplicating it? Or someone's got to notice that.
I can't imagine that's what's happening.
It's the same group of people that
Yeah.
it's the standards. They start in kindergarten and they work all the way through 12. It's a group of people in a room. I've been part of them before. So yes, they do talk to each other. They do know. It's just the depth of how they touch on those things.
Steve,
as they
a
get
lot
older.
of schools in the state are set up 6-8 for middle school.
Yeah.
So when they look at building out curriculums, they're looking at 6-8 as a section and K-5 as another. So when they're saying, the way they're setting up history, the way they're setting up history is thinking that sixth grade is part of that middle school piece. So I think that's some of what's happening at the state level. Because we used to teach, fifth grade was early American, and then sixth grade was late American up to current, which I know the kids in sixth graders really enjoy that too, because it's a lot.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
And we do appreciate what you guys do.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I appreciate what you guys do, the fact
Absolutely,
that you
thank you.
do this, thank you, and
Yes.
it's nice to work with good people in the socials department. You know, getting along with your colleagues is, it's pretty nice.
It is, it's wonderful.
Yeah. Most
Thank you.
days.
That's good.
Thank you all.
Thank you, thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
All right. We will move to agenda item 5, the principal's report. We'll move a couple things up here, and Mr. Shada's going back and forth here. So Mr. Shada, I'll let you do a quick school board sponsored update along with your activity report.
Yeah, thank you, sorry. You can see there just some accomplishments from the winter that we put through there, so we appreciate those guys. Probably the highlight there, we want to thank our custodial staff. They do a great job working this winter season, or sorry, this fall season. Some fun accomplishments there. Also want to highlight the concerts that are coming up, the One Act Play performance on the 18th and the conference on the 24th, right before Thanksgiving, and districts too. So that's always fun. They've been working hard all fall to get ready for this time of year. It does go quickly for them once that competition season starts. So excited. I'll just do some photos there. Fun to make the playoffs for the football team there. Thanks to those of you able to travel. Then we also have the Believers and Achievers, you're fine. Right there with Macy, Callan, Tessa, and Adriana. There's a really fun photo of the girls from there. Video scoreboard sponsorship. I just put down who we talked to and who we got commitments from. So we were able to secure an anchor sponsorship from the Memorial Community Hospital and Health System. That's the Blair Hospital. So that's a $25,000 sponsorship for them. So we're excited to work with their team there. And I believe that attached was a contract for you to look at and those pieces. So questions?
No, I'm glad we were able to get an anchor contract quickly after reaching out. Mr. Shada, I'm assuming, I don't want to assume it wrong though, with having one more anchor spot available and one more founding partner, we're still looking to fill those 2 spots. Is that accurate?
100%. Yeah. We'll continue to talk to those folks. A lot of those people we talk to, have to meet with their teams of folks, and everybody's got a different team depending on those different entities. And so they will get back to us. Sometimes they meet bi-weekly, some of them meet once a month with their leadership teams, probably similar to your guys' work. And so they are getting back to us in the next, actually pretty soon here. So we'll follow up with them.
Do we have some leads for both of those open spots then that we're waiting to hear?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And a lot of them was, you work with their marketing folks and their HR folks, but then they have to go back to their people that write the checks and know where would they want to fall and things like that too. So I don't have any, it'd be inaccurate for me to project anything because I don't have that for you where they would fall. So, but we're excited. A lot of all local folks we saw there. So, Mr. Art gave me a couple good leads the other day and when I talked on the phone, and so we'll catch up with those folks here in the next couple of days too. So.
Okay.
After the anchor and founding partners are filled, are we then going to keep looking for more of the premier partners and more founding partners? Or are we, is there a reason there's only 6 founding partners? Because the ones that are on, like fixed on the wall are the anchors partners.
Yep.
Anchor partners,
Yep.
correct? Okay,
Yeah.
so there's no reason that we can't have more founding partners than just 6?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
That's what
So-
was when we worked at Dectronics and getting to the number dollar that we talked about.
Yep.
That's what we settled at there.
Mhm.
You're right, you can't add, the 8's probably about as many as we could put on the wall.
Yeah.
Now, granted, if somebody said, I might give you a $25,000 check, we'd want to think about that, right?
Yep.
So, but then the other 2 spots we can. I think that we also just, if we had a few more people, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I don't probably see us having 10 people knock on our door and then we'd have to make sure they got the airtime they wanted.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it's still a thing that we're actively looking for. Oh, we have 6, we're done looking. It's a constant, we're still out there reaching out to local businesses and different people like that too.
Yeah, and honestly, it takes You know, Jason gets a lot of credit, just good connections and knowing folks and having a cup of coffee with somebody and they say, hey, I talked about this, and so we have a conversation.
Yep.
We've been successful in like cold conversations, but obviously way better when somebody connected to our district has a start to that process.
Yeah, for sure.
To Cass's point, obviously the premier partners based upon this model are full. However, there's obviously a lot of business or individuals that maybe don't want to fill a founding partner due to the funding amount. I just want to make sure we're not turning anybody away because there's no spots available on the premier partner and that's all they can afford.
Well, we've already
We've already added
additional-
more than we
Yeah, it
originally
started with
had on
8,
that.
so
Yeah.
we just add numbers as
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah, so
Okay.
so they were at 6 and we got the 7, 8, 9 there.
Okay.
In
Yeah.
the last few there. So yeah, 100%. I think we'll continue to have those folks there. Yeah. Yeah, and you're right, that sometimes meets some more of our business needs in there.
Remind me, I know that we talked about this with, when this all started, with, the Booster Club. And the Booster Club, if I remember correctly, so the Booster Club's on here somewhere.
They're in the middle.
They're in the founding
yeah,
partner.
yeah.
Okay, so when we're still like keeping track of who the boosters donors are to making sure that we're more, not, like, obviously we don't want to be perceived as trying to like scalp their donors, but making sure that we're hitting everybody as well and not trying to like steal anybody. I know that was a big concern from the Booster Club, that if this happens, then you're gonna steal our donors.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Sure.
I just wanted to check in and see like, is that like a different letter that's going out or a different conversation that's happening of, okay, we know that you guys give to the Booster Club. Are you also interested in giving to this program specifically? Or are those people that are not contacted?
Probably on the positive side, a lot of them have reached back out to us, hey, I'm already a part of the Booster Club and I would like to be part of this. And so we've seen a very positive like cast.
We have some that cross over, we work with boosters on ways to continue their ads and their sponsors because they bought this, so they get to incorporate their sponsors at their levels into their ad, plus they have some other places in the hallway and things like that.
Yeah.
Doing some advertising. So yeah, we talked with them about all of that.
Good. How often or when do those letters go out? I think I remember seeing that the like reminder of, hey, your commitment is due. Those go out in December or they go out?
They're going out now.
They're going out now. Okay.
Bills are doing this.
Okay.
And just so you know, on some of those, we've had some of our partners that say, thank you for the invoice. It's like after January 1 that technically I can write you a ticket. So
Yeah.
we know those because we have those good relationships with those people that, thank you for the reminder. I will get this to my department when the calendar turns. It's in the mail. So,
Yeah. Some people like to write the check before the end of the year and some people write it at the beginning.
Yep, and it all depends on who you're working with and how they do their books.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, great. What's the other thing I was gonna ask you about that? I'll think of it later.
Okay, we'll send you a message.
Yeah. Last thing I have that's not regarding the sponsor, the board specifically, but more about the athletics. As we're wrapping up the fall, season and getting into now the winter season, as we had talked about with the, handbook, that you are the one that's going over all of those, doing all of those updates or checking with coaches and everything. How's that going? Because we were a little concerned when that all came through that you are the only person that's handling all of those reviews and then all of those, meeting with coaches before the season starts.
Yeah.
So how is that going? Because I think that's of course it's a big undertaking. So we want to make sure that that's something that's happening first off, and then that you don't need an assistance, or if you do, like we want to figure out how the board can help you.
That's nice. No, this is my 14th year doing it. We've done it for 14 years that way, yeah. So
Okay.
we're good. Enjoy meeting with those folks. It's great conversations. You try to block out quite a bit of time because there's a lot of different things to discuss. This is our second year of doing like bi-weekly check-in meetings that when I meet with those head folks, middle school and high school. And those have been good check-in meetings along the way and see how they're doing and what's going on. Does that make the end of the year meeting longer or shorter? Not necessarily. They're really passionate, put a lot of time and effort into what they're doing. And so we have quite a bit of conversation. And a lot of times it's like making sure we find a good time that like they have an hour to sit and talk, because they want to get through all those different things. And they spend quite a bit of time reflecting and writing down their thoughts on the program, their team, their aspects, things they want to get better, things they want to do more of, things they liked. And that's important in every job that we do. So, yeah, I appreciate you asking.
You made a comment there, Mr. Shea, you said you've been doing it the same for 14 years, but there's confusion over the change that happened just a little over a year ago, so there was a big shift and change.
I mean, meeting at the end of the season with coaches, a follow-up with those.
Okay, and I think Cass was trying to
It's
get to how that change that we were talking about. on
from
the
meeting
policy,
with
the
just,
language.
just meeting with, so you're meeting with the head coach and the assistant coaches, correct?
I'm meeting with the head coach of each sport.
Mhm.
Yeah, then you have the high school, there, and then you have the middle school there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
then
they
you
evaluate
have,
their assistants and we talk through all that process.
and then you have like final say over their assistants though, correct?
Yeah,
Because that was one of the things that there was
Yeah.
confusion on.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanna make sure that all of those people are getting talked to, because sometimes that's one of the things that head coach and assistant coach may be on, they feel like really great terms, and then the next year rolls around and now we're looking for a new assistant. And why? What's happening? And I feel like there was a disconnect there in some areas that we wanna make sure there's communication. And those are just, especially with you having all of these meetings, we just wanna make sure that those conversations are still happening.
there are no change in the coaching staff ever led without the head coach helping lead that decision.
Along, like, so the head coach along with the assistant coach? Or is that just a you and the assistant coach conversation?
If the head coach desires to make a change on his or her staff, that's a
Mhm.
conversation that we have together. And that's happened very few times. Most of the time, we have people that change on staff, they've taken their job,
Mhm.
their family has changed, they're changing location, things like that.
Okay,
Appreciate your help.
make sure the ship is afloat. We like it. Perfect.
And speaking of the trip, we're gonna go help
Yeah.
finish the
Yeah,
couple hundred
the,
girls up there.
the next one.
Thank you, Mr.
No,
Chada.
this is a runoff.
Yeah, you're
So
up, back up to
Yep.
wrestling. Perfect, sounds great. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
We will go to Dr. Morgan.
All right, parent-teacher conferences happened. We were 96%, the elementary. Just saying. Halloween party, I couldn't go without a good picture there. It's me in the front as the coach. Yep. Yep.
Oh,
We've
nice.
got our support staff or the officials, which they did all have flags that they threw fairly frequently at me throughout the day, and then all the players there were the teachers, so.
Probably Big Ten refs.
Probably. I did get pretty good feedback from the children that I was a cheater. So
Oh,
the
okay.
Chiefs are cheaters apparently. This was the talk in the lunchroom. So it was a good day. Lots of fun. We did our traditional parade. We sandwiched that up with parties and then followed by a fabulous pep rally. So it was a very busy day on Halloween. Eagle of the Month, we're still going strong. Here are your October Eagle of the Month award winners. You get a fabulous yard sign, a certificate, and a candy bar from the office. There they are in all their glory. Fourth grade had a field trip. They went to the Durham. It ties in well with their Nebraska history standards that they go over. They got to learn more about Native American and pioneer life. They were only upset that we had the free version that did not allow them to freely explore the rest of the Durham. So they had a lot of fun and wanted to stay longer. So they will, fourth grade does go on a field trip in the spring to the Capitol. And so they go in and do state Capitol stuff, but not till the spring. This is just a little extra fun for them. 4th through 6th grade house students participated in Quiz Bowl last week. The 4th and 5th grade team placed 3rd. And so there are your 3rd place winners right there. Good stuff there. One thing that I did not put on here, but I wanted to talk quickly about is that iReady stuff. I had it on there last month. The elementary is averaging 84% of students passing their tests each week. So the month of October, 84% of students passed each test that they took, which is a huge number. The iReady program suggests that we should be in somewhere between 55 and 65% to consider the program effective. And so we are E-Corps for killing it. We are loving it. And we had over 70% of students K through 6 that were meeting their 50 minutes or plus per content area for the month too, which is also awesome. And a big kudos to the teachers who have been working hard to get that time and get them on and have them be productive. So just a reminder, these are lessons that are at their level. So the kids that are maybe struggling with concepts, it hit those, and the kids that need acceleration, it's hitting those. So we've got a whole spectrum of stuff. I was in a classroom Friday where there were second graders that were adding and subtracting fractions, which is like way above second grade standard. Usually second grade's identifying what fraction is, and so we have kids that are able to get that. They watch a little video and then they do some problems and things. And so to have kids that are studying that content at that level is amazing. So there we go. That's it. That's my spiel. That's all I got. What questions do you have?
Just a big thank you to you and your staff and the Booster Club or whoever else came up with it to get the word out about an early Halloween. So
Yeah.
everyone can go to the game.
Yeah, that was actually.
The village and-
Yeah, the village called me and we trickled it on down. And we
Yeah.
said, let's get it out, let's push it out on dojos, and the village put it on social medias.
Well, you
We
get
did
the
our
credit, 'cause I
best.
see your emails.
You're
more than
welcome.
anybody else.
Did have a couple of.
I did not send any emails.
That were very
Just
excited
phone calls
with young
all the time.
children that were like, if we could start right after school so we could maintain a regular bedtime. I did hear that. It was a positive.
New change. Next year it'll be a Saturday though, it won't matter.
Yes.
Will it? No, is it a leap year next year? It'll be a Sunday.
Thank you, Dr. Morgan.
Absolutely.
Mr. Finkston is not here. His report is attached. I know we talked about a couple of things, just high level. Veterans Day program is in his report. That's tomorrow. Strive was asked, and they were able to help stream some of the state volleyball. That is on there. There's some activities on there. Play production, NHS. Parent-teacher numbers at the high school level, obviously very different participation than at Dr. Morgan's level.
It's pretty good for 11th grade though. I mean, it's not great, but higher than some of these.
Yeah, couple activities, powder puff and Ballerama, they finished food drive, FBLA, and some, Mrs. Rowland is doing treats for the troops for a deployed unit. And that was kind of the high level stuff.
One thing I'll pull out on there too, the octet, if you saw that on the One Act Play production, that was a group of 8 students that were selected to sing the national anthem at state One Act Play productions. So, not to, I just want to make sure that we get the full attention on that, the reason that's up there. So I don't know who those 8 students were, but I do believe they sang it at a volleyball event, they sang it at something. Anyway, so they have to audition for that and get selected for that, so that's a fun thing.
Are the teachers happy with those conference attendance numbers? Does that
Well,
concern
I
them?
mean-
Is there anything we can do?
We
I don't know the
try
perspective.
different things, I don't know if it's different schedule wise, it's just, a lot of times with the ease of access to their students' performance and grades already, emails and things like that, they get, there's parents who will get an alert on their phone on Power School the second the teacher updates a grade. There's just not as much mystery as there was, especially at that level. So, I mean, yes, we would love to see more. Yes, we would love to be close to that, but I've seen numbers lower than that. So, it's not the worst that I've seen it. I just think that the information is super easy to access. You'll even see parents that come for elementary that like walk in the gym and look around and don't see anybody that they need to talk to or don't want to wait in lines and just go. So the elementary schedules them, they know when to show up, they know the teacher is going to be available for their,
And we don't see, I guess that's fine, we get that too, and we see grades right
Yeah.
away, but I can't ask the teacher, how is
I
he
know.
behaving in class? Is
Right.
there any, are we noticing any difference in that?
behaviors
Yeah.
of students or, I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean, do
the,
teachers feel that they're losing that interaction with say, well, yeah, Timmy's getting A's, but he's a complete jack-a-nitty when it comes to his behavior in class some days.
well, I believe that they are either reaching out to parents themselves via
Okay.
emails and different, like her teachers use Dojo or whatever.
Right.
They get those communications almost immediately or from the principal's office. They're just gonna have a easier time communicating with teachers now than I ever have historically. So,
I'm probably
just
just
like I
showing my
said, you have
age.
not,
I'm showing my
if you
age
have
because I
not
like to
received an
talk.
email about your students.
I don't think you're showing your age, because,
I wanna look them in the eye and talk.
I mean,
Even
I
when-
agree.
yeah.
I think it's wonderful when the parents come in. It's great. It's great for us because we're passing out their grades and we're making connections with them before they go out to all of the tables. And, you know, especially when some of the newer ones come in, you get to meet their parents and things like that. And so we appreciate it even at the, like the admin table when people are coming in the gym, that we get to meet those people and see those people and talk to those people. But, I guess it's the nature of the beast right now.
Right.
I mean, I guess I would be open to suggestions on what other schools are doing to try and get more through the door, or if you have some good ideas in some other respects to get more through the door, that'd be great. Right now, they're on the schedule like this for now, but if there's incentives or something like that, I don't know.
It's pretty similar. So we have this conversation all the time to my district, and so I started researching other area districts, and these numbers are very similar to other small districts in the area. We attributed it to the fact that the older they get, the more times they've had the same teachers. So if there's not like the introduce yourself to the teacher kind of thing, because you already know who they are. So.
And I don't know about a lot of other people, but how I grew up was that my parents didn't go to conferences unless you were in trouble. Because they went to go figure out what was going on, why you were in trouble, or why your grades were slipping. So, and the other thing is we receive our kids' grades all the time. Like, I do not have that time for every time someone enters a grade to receive that, but we get them monthly. So every time they get a progress report, we can see, and then I'm like, okay, Calvin, you have a C, what are you doing? And then we get that up pretty quickly. So by the time we get to parent-teacher conferences, I mean, for us, it's one of those things of we don't have an issue per se, so we don't feel like we need to go talk to a teacher. So I would be interested to see if that is something that with technology where people are getting this information all the time or can, if that has then dwindled the amount of people that are coming in to conferences because they already feel like they know what's going on. You know, that level of communication is so much higher, or can be, that they're like, I don't need to go talk to the teacher because I already know what their grades are.
Well, it's a level of communication, but is at the same time creating a disconnect.
Yeah, and I mean, it might be, it's what,
That's all I
Or
mean.
there's, and some of them might feel a little bit more connected on a regular basis and not
Right.
feel like that might be something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably a multitude of reasons.
Oh,
It
I'm
might
sure
be the
there is.
generation too, like the, you know, the people that are becoming parents and whose kids are in the school.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to agenda item 6, superintendent's report. Dr. Lewis.
Yes. Legislative preview, I don't have an awful lot yet, but NCSA will have a legislative preview. It's a half a day event in early December, so I'll attend that, but we do have some conversations. EPIC has come up again, and then there's another taxation plan called AFAN that I need to learn more about. And we might learn at the State Board of Education conference too, that we know will be discussed in the legislature this year. They suspect that there'll be some other pay things that come up. There's lots of different plans, so I'll have a better feel on that, but there is a preview coming up, so I will either attend that virtually or in person. I haven't decided yet, depending on how everything is looking. The June 2026, so I'm asking you to think ahead about 8 to 9 months from now. I am scheduled to be with our leadership group for NCSA in Washington, DC. It's a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday trip. So I would be back either Wednesday morning or Tuesday late. That's the date that our federal lobbyist chose for us to come and work with him and meet with our senators, so it'd be really difficult for me to work around. So I just want to start mentioning that now, so if we want to schedule that board meeting a couple of days later, since it's June, maybe a Thursday or something like that would work. I just want to start having that conversation now they told me that it would not be a situation. When I went a couple of years ago with a different branch of that organization in July, I was able to Zoom because it was the night that we wanted it, but this one is just not going to be feasible for me to Zoom on Monday night meeting on that, so just be thinking about that, probably pop it on there again in January, and maybe we can try and get that, we need to reschedule this as far enough in advance as possible. Dr. Schnoes sent the ESU 3 annual report. It's really similar to what our school districts generate. We do an annual report to the taxpayers. However, they're not waiting for their data to be released or unembargoed by the state, so theirs comes out a little bit earlier than ours does. So that's what's going on here. They just give us this nice production of all the services that they have provided over the years and things like that, over the year, and the amount of people they have served and the different things that they have for us to participate in, including the co-op purchase, which we see on our bills a lot and things like that, so you can learn a little bit more about those things. Update just on the AFR and the audit. The AFR was due on November 3rd. The audit was due, it's normally due on the 1st, but that was a weekend, so Monday the 3rd, and then the 5th, the audit was uploaded to the system. It was a really smooth process this year. It was really nice working with our new auditors. They were, I don't know, they took more things. I feel like they had a lot of experience auditing schools in the past. They did things that our previous auditors had us do them, so they just kind of took the initiative and did some things for us. Like, for example, the last day I was waiting and like I needed the copy of the financials so I can upload that. And they're like, well, you gave us the code, we do that. So I was sitting here waiting and nervous, and they're like, oh, Carrie does that. And I just got an email when she had it done. So like a lot of these things that Jen and I sit on pins and needles and wait for, they just took care of for us. So it was really nice. It was a nice change. We should have that full final report for you cleaned up and ready to go by December. Like your copy of the financials, I'll touch base with them and so when we get that. But they do a lot of school audits, so they're finishing a lot of those things for a lot of districts. Yeah.
Will they, I didn't want to interrupt you. Will they then like present that like audit report to us, or is
I'm
that
not
a
sure.
different thing? Cause that's, isn't that what they did last
They
year?
have come, the company that we used before did come and walk through it. I don't know if Dana Cole, because it's a large organization with a lot of schools, I don't know if they will have that time. So
Okay.
I will talk with them when they get the bound copies to us and see if that's something they could
They do, I mean, even
Yeah.
just to see if that is
A
something
lot
they
of
do, or
them
they can give us
don't,
kind of
yeah.
a synopsis of these are
Yeah.
the big things.
Well, we do, I mean, the big things are listed in there, so we can go through them.
Either way, we'll
they're very
plan on having some type of
self-explanatory.
board
Yeah,
conversation.
we will
for all
have-
the board.
Yeah, plan on
To go
having
over
a finance committee meeting like before the December board meeting, we'll kind of go through that. And one way or the other.
Gotcha.
Yeah, granted that they have the bound copies ready for us to go. NERCSA and NASB reports are attached there. We will have the third and final focus group meeting with DLR on November 17th at 5 o'clock. We surveyed the group and as many people as responded, the majority of them, like 60 or 70% for the 5 o'clock timeframe. So we're going to go with that. Anticipating by December, we'll have some more solid plans for the board to take a look at after this third meeting with the focus group. And then finally, the State Board of Education Conference, November 20th and 21st. So I have 4 of you registered. Typically what we do is we meet up here, and I will take anybody along who needs transportation on that morning of the 21st, so we can do that. I do need to come back though after the lunch to be here for the external review for our 5-year accreditation visit, and so we might look at doing that just a little bit differently there. As long as we have a way to get everybody home, I can still take a van with a bunch of people, but I will have to leave and get back. So we can probably send 2 vans. If we need to, we can do that as well. So I will send out a message probably the beginning of next week. Actually, if you just let me know right now, because you know who you are going. Let me know how you'd like to get there. Sometimes people drive their own vehicles, and they hang out with some of their friends that they've made over the years that are on other people's school ones as well. Yeah.
I am going, Chase, are you going?
I am not, I have a conflict, I cannot do that.
Yeah. Shannon, are you going? And then Brian and
Brian and Jason.
Jason? You guys usually drive together, don't you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I might be after lunch too, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I gotta see. That's on the list.
I don't have,
Or,
so I don't have anything on my calendar for that day, so I'm free to do whatever. I can drive, and if whoever needs to go with whomever is fine.
We'll talk.
I can,
Yeah.
okay. So we can kind of figure out
All right, sounds good.
carpooling and whatever, and yeah, we can kind of go from there, so.
All right,
Yeah, okay.
All right, moving on, agenda item 7, committee and representative reports, negotiations committee. Myself, Shannon, and Brian met with AEA October 28th for an initial meeting. We were set to meet tomorrow, however, just due to some schedules and some more information, I think we're gonna reschedule that meeting tomorrow to a later date. Mrs. Stork is here. Did you have anything to add? I didn't know if that's why you were here or not. Gotcha, okay. Gotcha, okay. Does that plan, I know I sent an email out, Brian, I think you were good with that. Does that work for you, Shannon, just to meet at a different time? Okay. We'll just plan on moving that meeting then,
yep, we'll regroup and we'll
just so
find a good
it's
date.
more productive the next time and we have everything.
And I did talk to Mrs. Koger in the hallway today, she thought, so the 24th and the 25th, that's the Monday and the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, she thought one of those dates might work. She thought Tuesday maybe, but that was just off the cuff, I don't know if that
Okay,
works for you.
why don't we wait till we get final, we'll wait till we get
But
final.
that's
when you get
kind of what we
final,
were
we
thinking,
can-
because next week
I'll
is
do that
also,
that whole week.
Okay,
next week is a little bit busy.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. So, that's the only committee report we have. Agenda item 8, new business, 8.1, discuss, consider, and take necessary action, to approve baseball field improvement for Legion Baseball to be reimbursed. This is a little bit unique, so Dr. Lewis, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, so, the Legion baseball program, typically do some like little improvements and things like that down at the baseball field. They, take care of things, cause they just, that's like their way of giving back. They raise money and they do these little projects. So this little project ended up being, over $10,000. What they're asking us to do is basically run the bill through the activities account for them, so they can save the money in taxes, so they can put that $800 towards another project. So this has been done for like a month ago. And so I said, well, we can probably do that, because they have the money, they're going to reimburse the school for it. However, we need board approval if we're going to pay a bill that's over $10,000. So that's what happens here. And then I also talked with Rusty and Ed both about, maybe let's work together on these instead of doing it that way. So
Yeah, I had a
since we're
good
going
vision.
forward, we'll start running those through buildings and grounds committees. I mean, they're used to doing things their way. It was a summer project. They were doing it. They had the money saved up for it. And then when it came to pay the bill, I'm like, well, that one's gonna require board approval. We started having that a little bit better. I don't remember them doing anything more than like replacing a window or things like that every now and then. It's been a long time since they've done something to this size. So I think they put turf around the batting box and some other things like that, so it didn't need quite so much maintenance. But anyway, so it will bring us the money, we'll deposit it into the baseball fund in the activities, and then we'll write the check out of there as well, so it doesn't mess up our general fund receipts or anything like that, and it will save them money for another project.
Yeah, I think it's a win-win, obviously,
Yeah,
they're
it's a
putting,
no, yeah, it's a no.
they're putting money back into, facilities.
Yeah.
We, use and operate, and we're getting directly reimbursed for it, so I think it's a win-win all around, on that. So I'll make a motion to approve
I
baseball.
move we approve baseball field improvements for baseball be reimbursed.
Thank you.
Dang bad.
It's
I'll
been-
second it.
Thank you. It's moved. Steve and Brian, is there any further discussion?
No.
Let's vote.
Jason Harper.
Yes.
Cassie Flesner.
Yes.
Chase Crowder.
Yes.
Brian Locker.
Yes.
Steve Slygeis.
Yes.
Shannon Wilmot.
All right, motion carries. Agenda item 2, review policies, 5416 to 5601 series. Dr. Lewis, did you want to highlight anything in there?
Not really anything I wanted to highlight. I will definitely entertain any questions, but these are either the legal legislated ones or, some of these like pregnant and parenting students and dating violence, and all of those are come from state legislature. Dating violence you'll see every year. I'm sorry. Yeah,
One of
so
these we
anyway.
see a lot, don't we?
Yeah, we see a couple of these every summer that we have to go through. Those, and so they're just reaffirming those, but none of these have been changed. The newest one, I believe, is the foster care student transportation. That's a new one that basically says that the students, their home district, it's a transportation thing between like the school district where they're placed and where their home district is. But you guys have seen that when you first approved it, so. Any particular questions about any of those?
Agenda item 8.3, discuss, consider, and take necessary action to approve budget transfer to activities fund for athletics account to balance end of fiscal 2024-2025 for the amount of $33,348.48. So this was an item that we've talked about. It's been brought up since I've been on the board, Shannon. I think you guys have discussed it since you've been on the board as well. Over the years, the activities funds pretty much, due to the makeup of that fund, what it pays for is always negative. I think collectively, and anybody can interject here if I speak for anybody, we are not a district that looks to charge schools or ask for kids to play activities. Some other districts are doing that to help cover losses in their activities. We are not unique in this. This is something that other school districts face, especially with, I'd say, going to more technology. We obviously strive. A lot of our sporting events, there's good and bad to that. The good is a lot of grandparents, a lot of other people can watch it. The bad is then they don't come to the game and pay to get in. So it's unfortunately it's a cost of doing business for activities with students now. Also with technology such as Huddle and things like that, we've adjusted with how we pay for that help with this, but those costs keep going up. Equipment costs keep going up. Paying referees keep going up. Things like that. This is a change we have not done before. Usually we do a transfer at the end of the year. However, that does not zero out or balance the budget. So we are now balancing that amount. So there'll be actually 2 transfers throughout the year to get that balanced. So we can track really the cost year over year and what that equipment cost looks like. It's just a better way, I think, when we discuss this, of doing business to balance that budget. So I'll kind of, if any board members have any questions on that.
And I will just explain the detail of that amount. That's the amount that particular fund, that athletics account within the big activities account, that's how much it was in the hole at the close of the 24-25 fiscal year. So we wanted to make sure that agreed with the audit before we need a transfer, but that's wiping out the negative balance. That is not that much cheaper than the negative balance was when we started the year. So we did make that $40,000 transfer in August, which we had planned, but we decided it was time to zero this out this year. So basically what this is doing is wiping out what was negative at the end of the year, so kind of starting this account with a clean slate, if that makes sense.
And thanks to Jen's help, we now have the ability to track things. What, for example, referee costs, equipment costs. So we'll be able to compare year to year what those costs look like and how they're tracking on a year-to-year basis to give us a little more context of those costs in that fund.
And again, it's offset by the receipts too. So some year you have a better year because you've got more people attending games and things like that. And you sell more activity tickets or whatever, or family passes, and some years you just don't sell as many and your game attendance is down. Yeah.
So we'll be able to better see our expenses,
And yeah,
and
we just
see
have
what
to
they
see the
specifically
offset
are,
of the
yeah.
receipts.
we'll be able to see the offset better.
But just as a member of the general public, if I was, for instance, questioning this, I would say, this is planned, we knew it was coming.
It is budgeted in the 25-26 budget, yes.
It's just a financial way, an accounting way we're doing this to get better eyes on it. So it's not that we've been running negative, we've had it, it's in a different place, it's negative, but it's in a different, we're moving it over now to zero it out.
That one.
So,
Yeah, the
it's
rest
not
of
that
them
we're running
balance
a
themselves
deficit,
pretty
right?
well, but this one account is the one where, yes, all of the expenses, all of the officials, all of the costs of doing business, of running tournaments, of all of the ins and outs, yeah.
Because as we account for our household budgets, we wouldn't do it this way, but the school.
But this is a
can.
school budget.
This is a different way, and we anticipated it, and we're trying to get
Yeah.
as much eyes on it as we can, and this is the way.
Yeah.
If you look at it from that standpoint, it makes a little more sense.
The total balance of the activities account has never been negative. That's always been positive. It's just this fund in here that we struggle with. Other ones will go in and out of negative as they collect like money for fundraisers or whatever and spend things, but this is just the one that's hardest, because so much goes through it.
All right, with that, I'll make a motion to approve budgeted transfer to activities fund for athletics account to balance end of fiscal year 2024-2025 for the amount of $33,348.48.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Thank you, Jason. Is there any further discussion? Let's vote.
Cassie Felsman,
Yes.
Chase Credible,
Yes.
Brian Walker,
Yes.
Steve Slyheis,
Yes.
Shannon Boulmont, Jason Art.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. With that, we will adjourn at 8:26 PM.